back, everyone, to another episode of the Game Podcast, episode 290. Big number. I'm one of your hosts, Neo Ayoshi, joined by some cool dudes. Trip Zero.
What's up, everybody? It's Trip Zero.
Felix Aragood.
The guy whose voice just started going out like he was like, dude, Neo sounded just then like he was at the fucking drive-thru of a Wendy's and he was trying to talk and the machine was cutting out. And you were bringing it in.
Did it cut out?
You're fine now, but it just.
What we heard was, "Welcome to the podcast."
Oh shit! Do I have to do it over again?
No.
Do I have to start over?
It's we're good. We're here.
Get going.
This is the Emerging Gamer Podcast. In case
This is
anyone
the
didn't hear
quarantine
that.
vibe, baby.
Quarantine vibe.
Yeah.
If you guys like the show, rate us on iTunes, subscribe on YouTube, and follow us on all the socials. We're on Twitter. We're on all those hot spots that you guys, you kids hang out in these days, whatever that.
Hey, like our Facebook
Subscribe
page.
there.
Like our Facebook page. Do
Like
that.
our Facebook page.
Smash
do
that
Do
like
it.
button.
do we want them to? Do we want to go to Facebook? Really?
It's debatable. It's
I
debatable.
don't know. It's
It's all
there.
those conspiracy theories and boomers. Was there really anything there for them?
I care more about YouTube. So if you listen, if you want to
care-
check
yeah,
us out on
definitely.
YouTube, definitely do YouTube.
Do YouTube.
It's been a fun week. Lots to talk about today. We're going to talk about a topic of difficulty and is it important? But before we do that,
Yes, the topic is not difficult to talk about. The topic is
difficulty
difficulty.
in game.
What does it mean when you call something normal?
Yeah.
What's
but
normal mode?
Right, normal mode. Yep.
Mhm.
That's the focus for the topic. It's not just generally having a discussion about difficulty. Like, what does it
But
mean? Have you been
before
broadsided
that-
by a normal mode?
Before that, Felix. Wait, do we want to start with you, Felix? Because
No, my part of the discussion leads into the final discussion. So
cool.
Yeah.
Trip Zero, what up?
What up, man? Well, things that I've been into personally. Still doing the Stardew thing. I know I kind of just recap that every week. Still grinding. It's the dead of winter. I'm going to enunciate my words. So I'm feeling the seasonal depression in Stardew Valley, just like I did in real life.
so in the game, in the timeline of the game, you're in dead of winter.
I'm in the winter right now, yes. And part of my 100% goal for this game is that I have to buy a couple things that are very expensive. And the most expensive thing in the game is an item that actually prevents like weeds on your farm from growing, which is great and saves you time. But it prevents fences from degrading, which is also great and saves you time. It's an incredible purchase. This thing costs $10 million to buy. And to put that into perspective, after 3 in-game years and the winery business I've got set up, I can pull in about $400,000 a week. So it's a little bit of a grind to get to 10 million to buy this clock.
I'm assuming you can just, if you wanted to, you could just get a GTA Shark card to pay for that.
No, oh god, no, not in Stardew Valley. No, sir.
That game is pure. It's a pure game.
I knew you were going to say the word pure because if you didn't, I was going to say the same thing. Yes, there are no microtransactions, no Stardew Valley lines of credit you could float yourself and your character there to scoop this stuff.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's the main goal. Like there are things that I can accomplish in the meantime, but I'm trying to earn that. The winter also kills another source of my income. I had pigs. I still have pigs, but they are inside my
killed the
barns
pigs.
right now.
Oh.
The pigs just don't come outside in the winter because it's cold. And when pigs aren't outside, they don't sniff out truffles. And if pigs aren't finding truffles for me, I can't turn them into truffle oil and make tons of money for free. So winter's slow. And there are things that I'm accomplishing during my stream time while playing Stardew Valley. But I'm starting to get the itch to like explore something else or have some more excitement in my days, right? So Monday and Tuesday, later on in the night for the last like hour or two of my stream time, I've been switching into Final Fantasy 14, which I've been playing in my off time to catch up because I've been playing this game literally since 1.0. Not consistently though. Very like whatever is below casual is me with this game up until this past year. And I know I've mentioned people in our amazing community that have helped out with this, and it's been really, really great getting into it. And 14 is an MMO that I like because of all of its unique systems that let you do whatever you want in the game, but also with like an element of realism and also ease of accessibility. Like if you want to change your job, you just change your weapon. You don't have to like create a new character. You don't have to play the story quest again. You swap your weapon and you are a new character, and you can have the entire like experience 0 to level 80, which is the cap, with that character. So it's a really, really cool and accessible system. I've been having a lot of fun with it. Ripping the main story, leveling up another DPS character, another damage dealing character to kind of move through the story with, and it's been great, man. I've been really, really feeling the grind. I'm getting super into it to try to earn every little bit of experience so I can catch up my new character to where my like story level requirement is, so I can just pick up right where I left off with the new guy, the new samurai that I'm playing. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, dude.
I'm glad you're changing it up. And I was in your stream last night watching you play the story. You're at a great point of Stormblood, which I actually like a lot. Like I think that's definitely one of the best expansions that they've done, aside from Shadowbringers, which you're gonna get to eventually.
Yeah, I've heard the quality just goes up as the expansions kind of come out.
They've over time they get way less convoluted, way less confusing. Because I don't even remember what happened during Heavensward, which was like the second expansion, I want to say. First expansion?
Yeah, it depends on your perspective. Some people call Heavensward the first expansion, but technically like A Realm Reborn is the rebranding of the game when they revamped everything. You could call that an expansion because you have Final Fantasy 14 A Realm Reborn. It's all semantics. I think I sit on the fence of saying Heavensward would be the first expansion. It's like the second story, but the first expansion to the game. That's where I would.
What I'm really excited for you, Trip, is once you get to the point where you're at the same level as like Rowan and Jay. These are two people in our server who are pretty much like full out.
They're doing full end game at the end, like they're done all the content. They're in end game, full on end game for the MMO.
I too have end game characters. I don't play as constantly as those guys do, but like I will reactivate my account if you are end game ready, and like we can all just like grind some dungeons together, like the four of us.
Yeah,
like that would be like fucking awesome.
My Dragoon class is level 80. Which was part of the reason for why I wanted to switch to something else, because my character is level 80 and I am halfway through the second expansion with a third expansion to go. I didn't want to rip through all that and waste the experience that I'd be earning playing the story. I want that to work for me. So I was like, let me get another character to the same level, and just like, I'm playing through it anyway. I'm going to earn this. I'm going to just earn the level up as I go. So I'm geared up actually on my Dragoon, and I've bought the highest level gear I can get for him before I have to earn from raids. So
you hit 80 before finishing Shadowbringers or even playing Shadowbringers. Oh my god, you must have just like only played Dragoon doing everything.
Exactly. That's exactly what I did. I did all my roulettes every day. I got all my daily experience bonuses. I just played Dragoon. That was it.
Wow.
But I'm geared to go into raids. Like I am the like Destiny has power level. Every game has like its item level, whatever. I'm the item level in Final Fantasy to do the newest current raid and just do whatever the minimum requirement is for that. I'm there on my Dragoon. And I haven't done a single raid. I haven't done the original Realm Reborn raids. I've done no like true endgame content. And I know I'm excited to, because it's funny because now I love that like challenging experience.
If you're going to go back now and do like a Realm Reborn raids or any of the other like massive content, like, events that they have, you're just going to like get in there and everyone's just going to be like steamrolling it. Like it's until you get to the more, 80 level stuff, you're not going to be able to experience those fights in their purest form, which is unfortunate.
I know.
People just steamroll it for like the weekly credit and like all that good stuff. You know what I mean? But like, yeah, like the 80, the level, there are newer ones like the Nier Automata ones are like, I don't know how current they are still, but those are like the latest ones.
Right.
You'll be able to experience those, get legit gear that is good for you to upgrade to, which is you'll have fun with that one. Once you get there, man, you just gotta push on.
I know.
Do you think you're gonna do it this time? You think you're gonna get there?
Yeah, my goal is to be through Shadowbringers by the summer when Endwalker comes out, so I can be current for that. That's my goal.
Dude, are we all gonna be playing Endwalker at the same time?
I mean, it sounds like a possibility. It's a goal of mine. I want to play a current expansion. Cool. I've never had that experience in Final Fantasy 14. I've always been like
going in with going in with the rest of the population.
Yep. I've always been playing catch up, so it's exciting.
It's an experience, man. Like it's a whole thing.
You know me with Destiny. Like I want the Destiny version of this. I want to experience that.
And good news is our community has a Final Fantasy 14
version of
base. Like we have like a group of people that do this, which is awesome.
Rowan's like the me of Destiny, but for Final Fantasy.
It's true. It's definitely true.
Does that mean great, I'm the me of Rowan that is of you for Fallout? Is that what I am?
Yep, that's what you're
correct.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
is correct.
1000%.
If I was like, shit, I have so many Fallout 76 questions. I need Felix.
I could
need to talk to Felix.
You're the me of Rowan of Felix of Monster Hunter Neo. That's what you are.
People are. Yeah. Was that that was a segue, wasn't it?
Sounds like it.
It's a good segue.
Could have been a good segue.
Before I do talk about Monster Hunter, are you not playing Metal Gear 5 anymore? This is an important question. We talked about it last week. I need clarification.
I thought about it, and I haven't touched it since.
All right, that's fine. We'll get you there. We'll get you there. It'll happen.
Look. It's not. My PlayStation 5 is in my room right now, my bedroom. I was in there when the weather was cold during the winter a lot. Things are really nice now, so I like to get out of my room where I like the room. I have like a little heater. My house is freezing. It's very situational, right? So that was perfect. It was perfect to line up in there.
I have
it's situational. It's nothing personal.
5 computers like I have. I have 5 computers in my room. My room is hot as fuck. It's hot as hell in here. Sorry, go on.
No, that's it. It's nothing personal. I will be playing the game again. I've started to watch The West Wing before sleeping instead of playing games. So it just I waver through my bedtime ritual, and that last week was just it was the moment. It was the moment that it had to happen. And then obviously, if you listen to the last episode, which I highly recommend that you do out there, I was hit pretty fucking hard by this intro. So I have a lot to chew on still in my brain, and we'll get back there. We'll get a Venom Snake moving through Afghanistan for sure.
I can't wait till you like play through it just a little bit more.
Are you guys pleased with the casting of Oscar Isaac as Snake?
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I think he'll do it. I think he'll do a good job.
I'm embarrassed to say that I haven't followed this because when I was younger, probably in my like early teens, there was always rumors of Metal Gear movies, and I've been just burned like that. The wait for a Metal Gear movie is longer than my wait for the Final Fantasy VII remake.
Oh, so
which
you don't
you're
think
be
it's real?
Talking about?
You don't think it's real?
No, I think it's real. I just don't know if we're gonna have it be real the whole time that we are alive.
It was Oscar Isaac, correct?
It was, yeah. But like it's weird because this situation is different because there is an actual project team on it. Jordan Vogt Roberts is the director and like writer of the movie, and he has Kojima as a producer. Like it's definitely possible that it's happening.
Yes. I've subscribed to a model of hands off. When it comes to that, I'm just going to let it happen. So I'm not aware of the news. I'm not up to date. That's
until I see a trailer, it's not real at this point for me.
Well, you know who Oscar Isaac is, right?
Yes. That's a fine choice for me.
Yeah, he's a really good actor.
Yeah.
I mean, he's also cast as Moon Knight.
Now, here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
The most important thing about Oscar Isaac is, does he also look good blonde? This is important. Does he also look good as a 60-year-old ex-president? Does he also look good? You know what I mean? Like these are all questions that you need answered when it comes to the casting of
They'll
Snake.
make him look good.
Okay, cool.
Well, how do you
Because
know? Okay, one qualification. Do we know that this is going to be a remake of one of the games, or if it's just going to be another entry in the canon?
I think they're doing Metal Gear Solid.
They're doing the original game. Okay.
I believe so.
I think that would be a good move. Like it's the
Yeah,
most
I do
grounded
too.
in reality.
It's
of
a
all of
good
them?
espionage thriller. Like like back in the day, I pictured like Tom Cruise, Mission Impossible style, doing the Metal Gear mission. Like in my brain, that was like who I pictured as like the Solid Snake doing Mission Impossible shit in like the Metal Gear story, right? Like that's just where my brain went 2 years ago.
It will be very strange to watch this the day that it comes out, and not hear David Hayter's voice.
David Hayter, yeah,
It's gonna be very, very weird not to hear that.
Right.
it's iconic at this point.
I mean, when I
For sure.
when I went to Assassin's Creed, I expected them to do what they did, which was this is another assassin in the world of other assassins.
Right.
You know, this is not the story
Metal
of
Gear.
this is not the story of any of the games. So I'm
Mhm.
just curious as to what they're going to do. You know.
Mhm. Yeah,
They
it's
should
weird. The
just dub
Snake's
his
character.
voice
The reason why
with just ADR it all with David Hayter.
You know what I was going to say? I was going to say, Trip, because of the reason you're worried about. Like you're like, am I going to be able to listen to this other person play this character in this thing?
Mhm.
You know,
Well, it happened with Metal Gear Solid 5.
Mm-hmm.
they
That's
put
Jack Bauer.
another guy in the role.
It's Kiefer Sutherland.
Oh, Kiefer
replaced
Sutherland
David
does it.
Hayter.
Yeah,
And that's all right for you?
But there's
it's
a
not,
reason for that.
but it is what it is. You know,
There
you
is
play the game.
there's a reason for that. I don't want to spoil that for you though. Sure.
Oh, I've heard. Yeah, I heard people have. I don't know the reason, but there's like people always say that. There's always like a wink, like, but there's a reason. You'll see.
Yeah.
That's I
I don't
always
want to
hear
say
that.
anything else.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yes, Monster Hunter.
let's talk about Monster Hunter. I started Monster Hunter Rise this past weekend.
Oh.
Came back to streaming. It was a great time. I was gone for like 3 months and I'm back and that was great. Everyone was having a great time. Monster Hunter Rise.
What is it?
So
Tell me what it is.
It is the next of the series of Monster Hunter games. It's not a sequel. The only sequels are like Generations 1, 2, and 3 and Monster Hunter Ultimate for the PSP. Like these are all disconnected but connected through the world and the monsters that you fight. There's no story.
Yeah,
There's
you're never
nothing like
really
that.
playing this for the story, right? You're playing this for the monster hunting action.
The combat and the experience of fighting these giant monsters, right? And the co-op, because the game has a great co-op loop, great co-op experience to it. Monster Hunter Rise is a really good game. It is fantastic. I want to say like 6 to 8 hours into it already. They have performed. It's almost like they took the complaints of World that people had, and they said, "Okay, we hear you. Let's see what we can do about this." And they did it for the most part so far. They fixed the co-op issues where you want in World when you want to play a co-op mission with friends. Well, this friend hasn't seen the monster yet, so they have to go into the mission solo, unlock the cutscene that introduces the monster because the monsters are a huge part, and then your friends can join in. Well, thankfully, Rise goes, no, here are your co-op missions. Queue up with your friends here, and then fucking kill monsters. Just do it.
Nice.
Do whatever you want. The loading times for the Nintendo Switch are fantastic. I can go between parts of the town instantly. Like it's fantastic. Like you move between them and your friends join your lobby and you can all just hang out in the town. This wasn't really a thing before. Like,
Is this an exclusive game for the Switch, or is it on other consoles?
it is currently only on the Switch. It's currently a Switch exclusive. Rumor has it will be coming out on PC next year. But here's the thing: there are reasons why I don't think this will make a good PC game. We have friends that say, "Oh, I'm just going to wait to pick it up on PC," but the game is clearly designed for a like handheld system like the Switch. Textures are downscaled. The detail in the world is definitely pulled back from Monster Hunter World. Monster Hunter World features like lots of lush environments full of like lots of bugs flying around, deep like
Yeah, it was. I remember it was like it really visually popped when it came out on the PS4. I definitely remember that.
In World, if you're in a forest, like you feel like you're in a forest. Like there is
things are sparkling and it's misty
everywhere.
and just it's engrossing.
They got rid of the these like little spirit fly bugs. Like I forgot what they're called. They're like the little glowy bugs.
They're not. It's not firefly. Is it pyrefly?
Something like that. They help you track the monster in the world. Those things. I'm sorry, I just don't remember the name right now. My computer froze for a second. Are we good? Okay. Are we good?
You're good. Yeah.
We lost you for a second.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We hear you now.
All right. Cool. Yeah. My screen just like kind of froze. But everything is like pulled back in this version of the game. And you can tell it's like not as like deeply detailed. As
I'm sure when you're in handheld mode, it's not really an issue, right? Like you're not sitting there being like, I miss the blades of grass. They're not as many or something, right?
100%. And for the most part, the character models are still really freaking good looking. Like they still look like they're from Monster Hunter World. Everything looks good. Like it's by no means a bad looking game.
Yeah. I just and compared to World is really what you're saying is the metric here.
Right.
I did see a tweet by Char. He is just a streamer, but he loves Monster Hunter and he loves Pokemon, and he tweeted out saying that it's disappointing to think about Pokemon Legends looking the way that it does, knowing how good Monster Hunter Rise looks.
Yeah, knowing like that Capcom released this game because I was one of the people asking for, I love Monster Hunter World, put it on Switch. I will play this on Switch. And they did it. They literally they said yes.
This is a return to form for Monster Hunter because the console release on PS4, that's the odd one out. Like Monster Hunter, for the most part, has been a handheld staple. The Nintendo DS, the 3DS, those were the consoles that Monster Hunter, they really existed on.
Monster Hunter is one of the most popular games in Japan. It like full stop. Like
People take 4 days off of work for this release, like everyone.
It was reported last week a company realized people were taking off work the Friday that Rise was coming out, and the executives realized this and said, you know what, take Friday off, no work on Friday. We declare.
Can you imagine like it's raid day, the Deep Stone Crypt drops today. Oh, everyone go home, grind up your Destiny character, it's raid time, you got to go.
Everyone's
like
canceled.
I'm the only one left at work after everyone goes home to play Destiny, and they're like, "Felix, what are you doing?" And I'm like,
they would shun you for not playing Monster Hunter.
I gave up on that shit in Crota, dude.
No. I'm like, I'm collecting scrap and Fallout. Go home and do that.
Yeah, you can have a scrap day. You get paid for your scrap day.
Yeah,
but going back to like the improvements that Rise introduces, because it does improve on World a lot, and it's incredible that it does that for a Switch game. They add a new companion, the dog, the Palamutes, and you can ride them. You can do actions on the dog, like sharpen your sword while riding. What I know it's a weird thing, but like most of the time, like there's lots of like breaking points when fighting a monster. Like it's not just you're fighting a monster for 30 minutes. Like the monster will fight you, another monster may join in and fight too, then the monster leaves and you have to continue to track it, right? Like there's like a progression to these fights that occur. But now that progression is kind of like condensed because you can ride this dog and sharpen your sword, drink potions while riding, collect items while riding, like all these kinds of like things that you weren't able to do in World.
You can be more mobile while you're like prepping your character for like the second wave attack or whatever.
Right, while you're getting ready to attack, make your next attack.
Yeah.
Also, they've increased the verticality. There was verticality in World. Like levels did go up and you would climb walls and stuff. But now they added a new wire bug maneuver, which is kind of turns you into like Spider-Man. a little bit. So you have the ability to just like use this like wire like whip thing, and you can attach to walls and run up, just go vertical on any surface. And now you can reach places that you probably wouldn't have been able to reach in like World for sure. And then you can just go anywhere you want. You can skip entire parts of the level to get to the monster. You don't have to like follow a path. You can do whatever you want in this case. They have changed the combos of existing weapons by combining it with this wire bug attack. Like before, for the longsword, for an example, because this is the weapon I'm most familiar with, you would build up your meter, right? Like you with the longsword, you build up like a meter till it hits red, essentially. And once you hit red, you can unleash the attack and like kind of release the meter, the gauge, and then perform like your ultimate damage dealing attack. In this one, it combines it with the wire bug, and it adds new attacks with the wire bug. So I'm now using the wire bug to whip myself onto a monster and then perform my attack. And not only that, they added the ability to swap out those attacks. So now I can actually change the combos that I'm doing, which is like not an actual thing that Monster Hunter has ever done before.
Yeah, just they are, right?
Combos. What?
They just are what they are, right? The combos, you just learn them and then that's it.
Like, they improve them over. I'm not familiar with like anything before World, unfortunately. Like I'm not the go-to guy, but as far as I know, weapons have been the weapons for a while, plus and minus some improvements. But now you're like actually changing out the actual combos that you can do and like make it how you want to make it. Like you can do what you can make the weapons how you want them to behave for you. The bow, for example, they added a melee attack to the bow, and they added like different like power-ups to it that like make it a different experience. Like I am more mobile now using the bow than I was in World. Like it's a cool, it's just a really cool experience that they've definitely taken into consideration people's feedback for World, and not just like take feedback for the sake of feedback, right? Like you don't want developers to just listen to the people and go, we're gonna make these changes because we know that people want this. That doesn't always make for a fun experience, right? Like Destiny's a good example of that for sure, right? People throw suggestions at them daily, right? Of what to change.
Yeah, yes, they certainly do.
Right. They definitely took what was important and they implemented it, and it's good. On the other hand, though, I don't know if this is a product of me just being a veteran now of Monster Hunter World, but the game does overall seem easier. And I don't know if this leads into the topic of the show, but like the game does feel like I am fucking running circles on these monsters. Maybe I'm too early in the game still. I'm playing 2-star missions, and that's a very early difficulty for these missions. Who knows right now? But me and Rowan were playing this game last night, and we were just making fools of these monsters, guys. Let me tell you, it was a great time. You feel like a badass playing this game.
It'll be interesting to see if the difficulty spikes for you at all, or if it's your skill from previous games that just kind of gives you the edge.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of mobility improvements using these wire bugs. Like, for example, you get knocked on your ass a lot in Monster Hunter World. Like a monster hits you, that is literally a whole animation of you flying backwards, rolling, and then having to get back up. But with your wire bug skill, you can now trigger it and then pull yourself back to your feet right away and away from the monster to kind of get your bearings back. Sure. So you're in a constant state of movement, and it feels good. It feels way better than like breaking of the combat when it comes to World. Like you getting knocked on your ass in World, it stops your flow of whatever kind of like attacks you were performing. But now I get hit in my ass, I fucking pull myself to my feet again, and I'm just getting right back into the fight. It's cool. Like the game does a lot to make you feel like you're still in control of the fight. I can't express enough how like great this is. Probably one of the this is the sequel to Monster Hunter World that I would have asked for.
Yeah, and portable.
And that's what I wanted from World. But when World came out, I was like, and the Switch came out, because that was like around the same time actually. I wanted this. Like, please give this to me portably. I want to take this with me wherever I go.
Mhm.
Granted, we're not going much of anywhere right now, but
Yeah, right.
it's a good game. They made a good sequel to World. I don't know if you would call this a sequel, a good Monster Hunter sequel.
Yeah.
And it's worth it. Like I think anyone out there on the fence about it, I think you should try it, like for sure.
Nice.
I'm excited to just get back into. I haven't been excited about playing a game like hardcore about this in a long time,
Mhm.
and it's good.
That's dope, man.
Really good.
So you said you're about like halfway through, you think?
No, I'm probably like a quarter of the way through.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Say I'm only on. I'm just getting into 2-star missions, because like I said, like they split the single player missions up with the multiplayer missions. It makes it a lot easier to join up with friends and get your friends in the game, which is
Mhm.
really nice. But yeah, there's just more stuff to do. Apparently, it is kind of a shorter game than World, which is okay. They've also already announced content drops for April and June. So we do know we're getting more. They're just gonna keep releasing. They did this with World. You're just gonna keep throwing more monsters in there, different experiences. But overall, like, it's good, man. Even the cooking system, which is where all the cats cook for you.
I remember that from World, yeah.
The cats, you couldn't have them cook meals to buff your character.
What are they called again?
Palicos.
Palicos, yeah, because you're fucking.
And they're
friends.
great.
They're pals.
They're Palcat, yeah.
Speaking of which, I watched the Monster Hunter movie a few weeks ago, and
Oh Jesus!
it's not great. It's not a great movie.
Forgot that was a thing.
It's a thing.
Yeah, but Mila Jovovich is the queen of adapting
Video
games into shitty movies.
Yeah. It's not a great movie, but what they do pretty well is they recreate a lot of the weapons, like looks and feel in the movie, and they literally scene for scene copy the animation of the cats cooking. They do like the whole scene.
That's ridiculous.
And Mila Jovovich is just watching this cat.
Oh my god!
Just like you would do in Monster Hunter World.
I didn't think they were going to go there. I thought they were going to have it be super like edgy and realistic and dumb.
It's a dumb plot, but it is dumb. But
yeah.
they do.
Well, when I say dumb, I mean like how they I don't know, taking themselves too seriously is what I would put under the category of dumb for that kind of a movie. Like guns and seriousness and like, oh, big monster. When the game's goofy and silly and like, hey, you're fighting monsters, but cats are cooking for you. Like that's the vibe,
That is literally the moment of the movie where you go, okay, this is real stupid.
You think that movie?
I'm glad they added the scene.
Considering all you spoke of about the popularity of this game in Japan, do you think that movie was made for American audiences anyway? Do you think it was made?
Yeah, I do.
Oh,
because
you really
the main cast of characters the main cast of characters are like Marines that were sucked into the Monster Hunter world.
Okay, so it had a very
That's like
American. It was like an Americanized, like an Americana version of the world of Monster Hunter.
Yeah, and I don't want to talk about the movie right now because the game is like way, but the movie does not a whole lot to. It sets up a sequel, by the way. It does set up
really
like more of that movie, but the game's where it's at. The game doesn't take itself seriously like at all. Like even this one. Oh shit, the soundtrack in this game in Rise, absolutely beautiful. It's a gorgeous soundtrack. They have this like vocalized song that they play like constantly in the background, and you can actually go to like you have a house cat who's in your house in this game, and and it's in World also, and he can change the background music for different areas. So like you can actually like switch out the music you hear while you're in town. And the food of choice for this game is dango, which is a delicacy in Japan of like little stick with the 3 balls. You ever see those 3 colored like dough balls?
Yeah.
And in World, you would just make it and it would like give you like a stamina and health buff and maybe like an elemental resistance. In this game, you can actually like specialize it a bit more and pick like, okay, I want to gather more materials, I want to make more money, and I want my buddies to get more of a level boost when I'm in the fighting. And you have all kinds of like choices like this. And it's way better because when you're exploring the areas of the monsters, you actually pick up stealth, health and stamina boosts in the world. Like you get more from like exploring the world in this sense.
I'm sure.
It's kind of difficult to explain that, but
No, I know what you're saying. You the benefits are wider if you take the time to do it, but the game looks like it's like funneling you to do that, to be rewarded by it. So it's like a nice
Right.
little loop.
there really is a lot to love about this game. Like I cannot stress it enough. I think I covered everything I wanted to cover about it. But this is pretty much the game I'll probably be playing for like the next couple weeks for sure.
Nice.
I'm loving it. Got a bunch of people in the Discord playing it. It's a good time. Like we're convincing Quail. Quail's watched me stream last night, and he was stressing out because he wasn't going to get this game, and now it's like, it's like a
He's
whole
in.
thing now. I'm real excited. I'm real excited about it.
Speaking of people convincing someone to play a game,
Yes.
What
Speaking
what
of,
is it?
do you like that transition? Do you like
that was
that?
a great transition.
That's solid.
I'm Neo. If you're not done, you can continue talking.
I don't think I have anything more about it.
I
to
just don't
say.
want to sound like I
Yeah.
was like trying to interrupt because I was bored, because I'm not. Like, I know nothing about Monster Hunter, so like it's good to hear that stuff.
Do you know more now that I've talked about it?
Yeah.
Cool. That's
I
all that
actually
matters.
might
done.
watch that. I might watch that movie just to see what's going on there. But
Yeah, you should watch it and tell me what you think. I would love
I'll
to hear
see-
about
I'll
that.
yeah,
I'm gonna watch it just for the cat scene.
yeah. Now
It's
I
a
want
good,
to see
it's a good
the
5
Palico.
seconds.
Yeah, you guys somehow you squeezed it out of me like I'm a rotten lemon. You managed to squeeze out like an
Why
an
are you
inch-
rotten? Regular lemons can just be squeezed just fine.
Right. But you managed to convince me to pick up a Final Fantasy game.
Nice. Let's go,
I mean,
dude. Let's
it-
go.
One man.
I'm gonna go further and say that it was you combined with the fact that PlayStation like offered it for free.
I mean, yeah, I was gonna say if we had to put this on one thing specifically, the game is literally free to download on PS Plus.
But
So-
in defense of that statement, or in defense of the opposition to that statement, I will say that long prior to that game being released, I considered it because you guys spoke really highly way back in the day.
oh yeah, it is a formative game for
yeah.
many of us.
Yeah. So you spoke highly of that, and I had a conversation in my own head about, like, since it's going to be updated graphics, and I'm not going back to, like, traditional turn-based, because you guys did emphasize, once it did come out and you were talking about it, you did emphasize that the turn-based is not full turn-based, where it pauses, stops, and says, pick your next character,
Yeah.
and then you wait for the boss to fight back, and then you
Yeah.
fight, and then, that kind of shit.
Yeah, true turn based would mean that everything has a turn, literally. The enemies kind of do their own thing. You do your own thing. I'm sure there are hidden mechanics that time everything, but it's not at all a traditional like
Right.
there was a point in Final Fantasy X where you could like hit a shoulder button and literally see like a panel slide out and look at everyone in a
Right.
row. If you see all your players, like the enemies, like monster A, monster B, whatever, and then like your teammates again, you could
Uh-huh.
like see 5 turns ahead or whatever.
I tell you that I've never played a Final Fantasy game, but it's not true. I played one of them. I can't remember because all that
It
shit
was 6.
looks from
Me and you
all
had
that-
this discussion after a show one day.
Yeah.
It was 6.
all that shit is very familiar to me, but how deep I went with it, I don't know. I have no recollection of any story elements. I don't know anything. I do
You
remember
played
certain
one of the
things.
best intro songs of all time.
I do remember certain things. So
It's a good one.
Anyway, continue.
stop me if I'm wrong here, but like MP and what's the
Magic
other
points.
what's the other bar?
HP.
Health, HP.
HP and MP are terminology that's used throughout all the games, right?
Yeah.
Right.
More or less.
So HP and MP, I'm very familiar with in my memory to previous games. Now, that being said, here I am in this game. I've downloaded it, playing it for the story, but and this is not to get into our later discussion immediately, but like my choice that I had on the main menu was, do you want to play this easy, where you just consume the story? I can't remember the phrasing. It's like story something.
Mm-hmm.
Or do you want to play it normal? And then it says something to the effect of, the menu items the menus will need to be managed more, or something to that effect if you pick normal. So I picked normal. I didn't see a hard option because I don't think you unlock that until you complete normal. That's the vibe I'm
That
getting
is
from the
correct.
game. and I didn't want to pick a hard option. I really just wanted to pick something normal, right? That's like balanced is what I think of when I think of normal, because our later discussion will focus probably around how you define normal, because that's something we should probably talk about first. But like,
I found the descriptions if you want them, Felix, for the options.
yeah, I mean, you can rattle them off right now.
There was classic.
Classic.
Classic. You have so to start, like you said, before you finish the game, your only options are classic, easy, or normal.
Right.
Classic says battle actions will be automated, more focused on using command menu in combat, game difficulty identical to easy mode. Then we have easy mode, forgiving difficulty for player preferring to enjoy the story. And then there is normal, which says default difficulty set for balanced experience in combat.
We'll talk about it later after I just talk a little bit about other aspects of the game. But like, I should have definitely picked the story one,
The easy
No.
story one.
No,
You shouldn't. Yeah, you shouldn't have.
I should have.
No, you
should
did a
not
good. No, you did a good call.
Okay, we'll talk.
Because you want to talk about the house fight, the fight with the
We
haunted
can talk.
house.
Well, let's talk about that later. I want to go through like other things that I really enjoy, like characterizations, style, like all that stuff is blowing my mind. So a couple things that I really do enjoy about the game is I just love the aesthetic. Like it's beautiful. Like
It is. Man, the design of that game is just it's top notch, man. It's like it's dystopian but hopeful. Like the character elements, they found a way to make them like somehow like believably realistic. Like the things the characters are wearing, like their outfits and costumes in the original are exactly the same, but they looked cartoony in the original. Now they're like believable somehow. It just they did such a good job making this like a livable world.
you have like almost like a steampunk kind of world,
Mhm.
but at the same time you have like all the music is and cars are from the 1940s, you know, in our time,
Mhm.
you know, like, so I'm like, what the fuck? That's really cool that they did that, you know. A lot of the songs that you collect for the jukebox, because there's an in-game collecting thing where you can find songs in various jukeboxes. You can also find them in other places with vendors. You can buy them from vendors. And I noticed that like most of the songs coming from the jukebox are like 40s like standard pieces, you know, stuff that sounds like a standard from the 40s.
Yeah.
They're all part of the original Final Fantasy soundtrack.
Yeah,
seven
yeah.
soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
right.
they do twist them to different genres, right? Like a little bit, like
Yeah.
slightly.
So maybe
It's
they're doing a thing right there
incredible.
that I didn't realize.
The jukebox soundtrack is such a cool aspect of the soundtrack to a game that already like gave you multiple different versions of the tracks. There's like 3 different soundtracks to this game that you experience using all the same songs. It's magical.
Clarification to anyone listening, I don't think I've ever played a Final Fantasy, so I'm new to this aesthetic if you're a seasoned player of Final Fantasy. I'm very new to this aesthetic, and I really appreciate it because, like I said on a previous episode, maybe the last episode, like I like it when you juxtapose different I like this in cinema, and I also like this in games, when you juxtapose different forms like of art kind of with each other. Even though it might not totally make sense, like steampunk mixed with the 1940s aesthetic, because definitely the dress of a lot of the women in it, and I haven't got to the part where certain characters, I'm at the part where one of the characters, not to reveal spoilers or anything, has to be dressed properly for like an event that you have.
An event, yeah. Good way to put that.
And I know from screenshots I've seen that those women are dressing kind of like in a 1940s esque, almost like this game is partly trying to be like a post war noir to a degree.
There's definitely noir elements to it.
There's very much noir elements.
There's that mixed with like, you know, futurism and there's definitely like cyberpunk elements in small ways, steampunk a lot for sure, obviously. But the aesthetic overall was just a very unique melding visually of a lot of styles.
And the original game didn't feel exactly like that, right? Or it did?
You know, it did.
No,
It really did. It truly did. Yeah, like that's one of the things that was the most impressive about this. because we've grown up with remakes of games in so many different ways, remakes, remasters, reissues. This was one of the only times that a game has truly nailed the exact feeling that you had while playing it as a kid, but also giving the experience an update for a new generation.
I honestly, dude, I would not be able to play like the original game. I don't.
Yes,
think
you would.
Maybe.
Shut up. Shut up.
Well,
After I play through all this, maybe, because I know the story in the game and all that shit,
Mhm.
probably. And that's something
so I mean, Final. No, I'm sorry.
Are we losing Neo? Where you there?
No, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay.
I was trying to say something.
Yeah,
but
he
it's
just
okay.
stopped himself.
He stopped himself. Okay.
Yeah.
Things that are hokey and, like I don't really know if I'm comfortable fully with it. I think Barrett is like, I know you said that the thing that makes it worse, Trip, I know you said he came from the previous game and that's how his dialogue was in the previous game, right? They didn't really
Okay, I'm not defending Barrett. Barrett is absolutely like a
racial archetype.
It's a bad characterization of a Japanese perception of a black person.
Right. And you said that on the show before.
And that's how it was written originally. They kept his persona for this one. He is a caricature for sure, and you can't not acknowledge that. But I think they did make him a little bit more believable as a person, and they definitely gave him more human moments, human elements, but they kept his like general aura the same.
I don't have a problem with that. Okay.
Sure.
What I have a problem with is you telling me that this game originally didn't have actual spoken like actors playing the parts.
Yeah, right? No, it was all written.
So it was all text that would show up on the screen. So when they go to cast the voice actor, they absolutely did hire a black man to play that character, but the voice he chooses to do, I'm sorry, man, this game came out post 2008, which is the year that Tropic Thunder came out. And this guy chose to do the voice of Kirk Lazarus, played by Robert De Niro, who's in blackface, like playing this character. And I'm trying to,
or is Kirk Lazarus a reference to other like conceptions of black people in cinema and movies and media?
Maybe.
And it's just a cycle and a perception, and it's all just commentary.
And Square Enix is making this game. They're not an American company; they're Japanese. Is that true?
They're Japanese, yes.
Yeah, so
they're extremely Japanese.
So they're a very Japanese company. So I don't know if I can fully fault them for this, because I don't know, like their perception of America might be the movie Tropic Thunder, and they thought that was like a funny joke to like put it in that voice. But dude, does this guy nail it? He's nailing that character in every part. And it's crazy to me.
They do a better job with Barrett this time around.
So I noticed that.
Well, in the original game, his dialogue, while being through text, they put a lot of emphasis on the slang that he uses
stuff,
and a lot of like the curses are all in like, I don't know, like the symbols, like expletives, like he curses a lot.
Like I'm thinking in my head that like
he doesn't do that in the remake. Like he is definitely more of a character, like he's a better character in this game, right? Like
right. Oh no, I'm not. Yeah,
in the previous game for sure.
I'm not complaining about the character at all. I'm fine with
just
it.
How
it's
he's portrayed. He's portrayed.
I'm not really complaining about the character at all. Like I'm just saying that like I don't know how much I should be comfortable with this. But then, then I look over and I see Biggs.
You see Charlie Sheen.
Biggs literally looks like Charlie Sheen from Hot Shots. And the guy doing the voice is doing Charlie Sheen. And I'm like, there's some fucking intention to this. Like, they liked these movies in their design. I think they were watching these movies in their design.
I don't know. It's a theory. It's like
definitely a connection.
It's a very tenuous coincidence. And this is definitely something people would make like a 30-minute YouTube about, like saying they have proof of this when it's just all conjecture.
Right. It's total conjecture.
I will say that Biggs's face, out of all the points you've made, the one that I 1000% agree with is that Biggs's face is Charlie Sheen in Hot Shots face. 1000%. I can't even argue with that.
It's so fucking good, dude. It's fucking funny. But anyway, back to other elements. I like Cloud. I think he's a really cool protagonist. But the grunting sounds that he makes all the time in response to something, he's just like, like they should just loop that because that would be hilarious. Like somebody find all the grunts that he ever did. There probably is a YouTube video of that. Like
that's just like a Japanese thing in general. Like in any Japanese media.
Yeah. So
or like
tell me
anime,
when things
like,
are that because some things I don't
like. They react with like vocalization. Like if someone's confused, they don't look confused. They go like little like they make sounds like that. You know.
But
it's definitely like it's an anime thing for sure.
Yeah,
he's a moody motherfucker. That guy, like, he's really, like,
he's just a shitbird.
And I already said this last week, but I'll repeat it again. I have no personal experience other than if I'm watching like fucking hentai or something like that with bedroom eyes, fucking like female characters looking at you with bedroom eyes, like in this tight, like, you know, headshot.
Everyone is thirsty in that game. That is
like because it you know, and I'm not that far in the story, so don't spoil it. But like, you know, like Tifa and Cloud are friends. They're not trying to be lovers. I don't get that impression. I'm not there yet. Don't spoil it.
No.
But they're starting off as friends, and like, and she doesn't seem to think that she's trying to like date him, right? But at the same time, like, she does do the bedroom eyes thing. You know, a lot.
I see the Tifa Cloud thing as like, I think I texted this to you when you started playing the game. I was like, imagine you grow up in a small town, you know, you go to grade school, high school, whatever, and like there's this girl that like you were friends with, maybe like your parents were friends and you were close and whatever. Then you go off and do your own thing, and she goes off and does her own thing, and then like you run into each other years down the road, and like you're in a circumstance where you're like
the
working
Wednesday
together.
Night before Thanksgiving.
That's the core of that, and it's like.
Did you hear me? The Wednesday night before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
You're like all the hometown goes out on fucking
exactly.
Wednesday night.
Exactly.
Everyone's at the bar.
It's not quite that because that would just imply like casual hookup culture, and then you're done. This is like, oh, we're just like working together somehow, and here we are. Let's figure this out. Like, are we? You know. Yeah, it's great to have you back in my life, kind of thing.
Out of all,
where is this gonna go?
Out of all three of the female characters I met so far, you know, you have Tifa, you have Aerith, and you have
Jessie.
Jessie, right? The one that seems to be clearly flirting with Cloud is Aerith. Like she's basically talking about like why don't we go on a date later? You know, like
Jessie too is literally saying blatant things like.
But Jessie also said one really clearly blatant thing. She said, Jessie invited him back for like dinner or something, and they never got to do the meeting with her. Never got to go back because they got caught up in some shit. But that one dude, what's his name? The guy played by the Wedge character.
Wedge, yeah.
Wedge is standing in the alley, and he's like, right after Cloud drops off Jessie, and then I don't understand this. This is the kind of stuff I don't understand. Explain this to me. There's a triangle on the door, and I'm like, wait, she just walked in there. Why is there a triangle on the door? I click the door, and then Wedge is down the alley, and the camera pans real quick to Wedge, and he goes, "Hey, man, she told you guys aren't supposed to be around here. Why are you trying to go in there?" Because it's like Jessie's hanging out with like her girl pals or something,
right?
And
her roommates.
That's what she tells you.
Yeah.
But Wedge scolds you immediately for hitting the triangle. Why did they put the triangle there?
Like, who knows, man? That's a question without an answer.
It's so fucking
fun
funny.
thing.
It was fun. I'm not complaining. I thought it was hilarious. I'm like, why the fuck are they scolding me? Why did they put the button there? Don't put the button there. I'm gonna hit the fucking button.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly the thing. They put it there because they knew you'd hit the button.
All right. So we talked about a bunch of good that I think are great. Well, here's some things that are fucking annoying, man. Like, and this is probably just engendered with turn-based Final Fantasy from like the early days.
Sure.
I don't like the fact that I can't put a potion on. I have to use the energy from that. What's that bar called? ATB.
Your ATB bar.
I have to use ATB to use a potion. That's annoying as fuck.
That is annoying as shit.
That is specific
for this game. Yeah.
So all like lots of other Final Fantasies allow you to just take potions without having to use an
When
energy bar.
when it's your character's turn, you can normally cast an item. Yes, I think the ATB gauge for this game does represent the turn-based system.
I know.
It's interesting because
does classic play like that? Like
well, here I'm going to go into that in a second. It's good and bad for a couple of reasons. It's good because the benefits of the new ATB gauge are that you can store that activity for when you need it. Either use like a powerful ability that uses both your segments or more segments down the road as you level up and split it up. You use them as you go. You have more freedom to use it. In the original system, there's one bar, your ATB bar, and that fills up. When it fills up, it's your turn to make a decision. You can attack, use magic, use an item, whatever. You do one thing. You do the thing, then the bar empties, fills up again, you do your next thing. So what you can do any of the things. There's no limit to your things.
Right.
But whatever you decide when you get there, that's your decision. So there's more freedom in the bar because you can save that up if you don't want to use it, run around, physically attack, kind of store things for later, make strategic decisions in the remake. But the negative thing is also in the remake, from that perspective, the game is such a this generation game in terms of its combat that you've got to be aware of your position, the enemy's movements, their animations, what they're signaling to you, because if you're not paying attention, which is me 80% of the time playing this game, I'll like flat out fucking miss my attack. And then at that point, my ATB bars are gone and I have to go back to attacking to build up my ability again.
Now, I found quite frequently in the Hell House fight, which is the subject of my ire at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But like I found that in that one, it was always a defense game. Like I eventually figured it out, and I'll explain how I figured it out if you want. But like I found that as I got later, let's just speak generally. As I got later in this version of Final Fantasy, as I got later into the game, not in the beginning felt great. As I got later, I started to realize that in an awful lot of the fights, and I named a few of them. The one was that Goblin fucking King, and then another one. Which was
the side quest one. Yep.
The side quest Goblin King, and then like, not at all in the Airbuster fight, which was the big fight for that section, right? I thought that was going to be hard as fuck.
It's funny, man. It's like
Airbuster was easy as fuck. I don't like. I was feeling good at that point.
Yeah, they'll make the side quests more challenging to kind of throw you off guard than some of like the scripted fights. Like now, Hell House was a scripted fight, obviously. But yeah, they're going to surprise you with the optional ones that you think like, oh, I'm just going to go down and like beat up this little like fucking rat thing in the trash heap, and then it's like it's clowning you.
Ouch.
And it's got its buddies that are healing,
Yeah.
and it just like you've got to like really approach
Those
that
fuckers were, like-
super strategically.
They kept bouncing on my head. I was like, "Stop bouncing on me! Stop bouncing on me!" But what I was finding
hear
is,
you.
in a general sense, is I was finding that I was playing a constant defense game, where like I was one character's down, and then I use the other character to raise it. That character's up, then the other character gets killed, and then I'm just flipping back and forth between, and I'm not doing any offense. Like I'm not taking the enemy down. And I noticed that this happens if I wait too long into the battle to be offensive. It's almost like the game is encouraging me to aggressively approach offense from the very beginning. And if I don't, then I lose out on the fight entirely. Well, that's how it felt mostly with the Hell House.
Right.
Some other
I'm
fights.
putting, as you're talking, Felix, I'm putting some links into our Twitch chat here for our show.
Yeah.
The first one is the Hell House as a because this wasn't a random encounter enemy in the game originally.
Oh, it was a random thing.
So it was just on the same level as all the other enemies you would fight running around the world, albeit definitely harder. It was tougher. It had a lot more health. It was like a rarer encounter. And like you had to work through it when you found it, but like it was on the same, it wasn't a boss. It was just like a thing you fought in the wild, but it did have double mode. So the first picture is what it looked like when you started the fight. And the second picture is after a certain like period of time in its health, it changed up its attacks. It looked more visual, like the arms popped out. It had like the jets on the back.
Yeah, which is exactly like how it plays out in the arena.
Yes.
But you're not in
this
this
enemy was so weird and iconic as a random encounter This is what the remake does perfectly. They took like our iconic memories and made it like a featured moment
Yeah.
in the remake by making it such like a monumental fight that is in the remake, as you know, unavoidable to the main story.
Did not fucking expect that fucking fight, man. Because of the first four fights I just owned. I was like, this is so easy, you know? Like,
I will say this, out of all the fights in the remake, this was probably the most challenging one for me as well.
So
it literally
agree.
wasn't until you actually understand when you scan the Hell House and you like really take in what it's asking you to do, is when you go, okay, I need to make sure my characters perform these actions when the house is in this phase, because it switches between like 3 phases if I remember correctly.
Yeah, 3 phases. The last one is the pain in the ass phase.
real fucking pain. This fight, like you, Felix, I like had to do a lot. I died a lot to this fight because I was struggling in the defensive mode. Like I was constantly playing defense.
What I'm going to say is germane to like what we're about ready to talk about, but like I found myself ultimately thinking, I'm aware of that because we got to wrap up. But I found myself, so maybe this is just a segue. Let this just be the segue.
Just bring it all in. But
I found myself having to seriously micromanage what materia was on all the characters. And I would look at forums, and I would look at this, and I would look, like, what did this person do when they went through? And nothing worked because the strategy that I was doing, or the point in Final Fantasy VII Remake that I had achieved at that point, based on like what choices I made and everything like that, which, as I can tell, this is now like the butterfly flaps its fucking wings effect in the world. You know, if you know that theory, it's like butterfly flaps its wings on one side of the planet, and like
there's a hurricane somewhere else.
Nuclear bomb goes off on the other side of the planet. Mm-hmm. But like, this is what I'm saying. Like, I started to realize that how I had positioned myself, I wasn't going to be able to follow a fucking video online. I now am forced to come up with my own original strategy based on what I had. And I wasn't even sure, and this is the thing that gave me like stomach pains, I wasn't sure if I even had good enough stats. Even though I thought I had really been like trying to get as many extra things and like maximize the amount of shit I had going into it, I like realized I was completely underpowered for it, and I needed to like literally just remove materia, put ones in, and just see if the goddamn fight would change a little bit.
The fight literally teaches you to be able to spread out and make sure your characters are evenly supported by the materia, right? Like this is the fight that goes, hey, you can't just stack all of your power onto 1 or 2 characters. Like you have to be able to make everybody balanced enough to be able to handle the fight in any situation. Lightning, ice, they all have to be spread across your characters for situations like this.
Here's what I discovered, that I did this unlike anyone online. That's what I discovered. I completed this in a way that nobody I found YouTube videos on completed it, because everyone else completed it with Cloud. I don't know if you guys completed it with Cloud. Like Cloud is your action character, the one you're using. I didn't use Cloud.
I know I was swapping a lot.
I didn't swap at all. I only completed it by being Aerith the whole time, because I realized...
Did you issue commands to Cloud while mainly controlling Aerith still?
No, I made it so that Cloud was buffed, so he could defend, because he defends better than her. She just fucking dies when she's in... that's what was fucking me so much. She would die as an NPC. If she was not controlled by me, she was fucking dead.
Also, the minute that you take immediate control of a character, you're taking all the aggro, like on a dime. That's actually an issue that I have with the battle system, but that's a whole different conversation. We're not going to go there. When you swap, she's taking aggro. So how did you deal with that?
So the interesting thing is I gave him all the MP up, so he had plenty of MP, right? And then I put Raise on him. And if I was playing her, she'd get the aggro and die quickly. But then he was really good as an NPC to defend himself from the house. Like, he never took any damage from the fucking house. He always had health. So I used him as the person who raises her while she nicks away at the fucking thing with me playing as her. So it was crazy that ultimately was what got this fucking house. I was able to...
I can absolutely say I did not play it like that.
Right. Nobody did. But
Yeah.
it worked. It fucking is crazy how well it worked.
So you
I would play to
control
like...
her,
Yeah.
just like you mash square to send her like little like.
I would do the
attacks
Tempest
at it.
every time because the Tempest
Oh, okay.
seemed to hurt the house really well because it was ice-based. Not in every form because it keeps switching through elementals. But the
It does.
Tempest, when it was in fire, the Tempest would fuck it up. So I kept using her, and if she died, I'd given all the MP to Cloud, so Cloud was able to raise her. And then when he raised her, I quickly switched to her and went back to barraging this thing over and over again.
Right.
And as long as I avoided its weird movements and weird rushing attacks and shit like that with her, I was able to fucking do it. But man, if I did the thing that you said you did, where I switched back and forth between Cloud, they would equally aggro, and Cloud would eventually get so much loss of health. She would too. By the end of the fight, I had nothing left to fight it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I tried Cloud, he just can't hit the house at all because I just couldn't do damage to it. Like, her magic really affected that house. And I don't
think
know
her, I think her intrinsic stats are better for magic. I think she has a
Right.
higher, like, it's either like an actual magic stat if you go into the stats menu, or spirit or something. Something like that is just higher on Aerith than it will ever be on Cloud.
And I think it was something you said or something I watched in a video where somebody said that oh no, you know who it was? It was Trollbeard. Trollbeard basically said, this is a magic house. You have to use a magic caster or something like, that's a paraphrase. But he said, so it's a magic house, so you should use magic to defeat it. And that's when it clicked in my head, oh, I should just stay with Aerith and then make sure Cloud can raise her whenever she dies. And I just kept, that would be the only time I switch. If she dies, I switch to Cloud, raised her really quick, switched right back to her.
So you issued no commands to Cloud at all.
No. Like, I never,
That's wild.
other than raise Aerith.
Yeah.
And he did
I was in
nothing
a
but,
constant state of switching characters in that and casting.
I'm going to keep this strategy going. I want to see how well this works in subsequent fights. I don't know any of the subsequent fights because I haven't I'm just past that part.
Sure.
But I want to see how well this works in other fights. This might only work on that Hell
I
House.
promise you it won't work for every fight, because like if this game does anything really well, it's forcing you to use all of your abilities in different situations.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if we've officially transitioned into our discussion of what
We
makes a game, what makes a good normal difficulty here. But in Final Fantasy's perspective, at least from the remake, probably around the same time as you, Felix, when I hit the Hell House, I realized that I really couldn't hack and slash everything and just power through.
That is definitely the fight that teaches you can't just brute force everything.
So
for sure.
The question that I wanted to bring up in the show that I brought up to you guys is, I picked normal.
Mm-hmm.
There is a hard difficulty. I don't think I want to ever play it, even though it's a part of the Platinum Trophy. I looked that up, and I'm like, fuck, really? If I want to Platinum this, I got to fucking do this on hard?
So there's also another element to the hard difficulty.
What? I can't even imagine.
You cannot use items.
In hard?
Oh, I didn't realize that.
You can't heal yourself with items in battle.
You can heal yourself with Cure, though.
Yes, but your magic does not heal at benches.
Oh, my God.
Benches only heal health. You have to use items. You have to use ethers to heal your magic. Cannot use items in battle.
Isn't that an item?
You can heal your magic outside of battle.
Oh, shit, dude.
Mm-hmm. And I think it pretty much assumes level 50
Insane.
for everything.
Fuck, man.
So I actually started a hard playthrough on my most recent playthrough, forgetting that I had done that, because I was looking forward to playing through the game in steamroll mode, like even just like, you know, Punisher mode, Cloud, the hedgehog pie fight you were fighting with the real annoying thing in Sector 5, right?
Yeah.
Like even that. But I'm in like the Sector 1 reactor in the very beginning, and I'm like, what the like, this is kind of Does it scale? Like, does the game scale to your level? Because I'm like level 36. I'm not even at the cap, but I started a new game plus, and I'm like, why is this tough?
Oh,
Like,
is that what hard is? It's New Game Plus.
no, you do get a different difficulty, but once you beat the game, you can literally take your character to any chapter. And if you start from chapter 1, you have effectively made yourself restart the game.
Okay.
You can chapter hop at a moment's notice, which is a nice thing because you can go around specifically to collect things you missed on a
Okay.
replay.
Oh, I see. But that's
Um,
not starting hard difficulty, New Game Plus. That's
Yeah. So I at some point selected hard, right?
okay.
And I'm in chapter 1, and I didn't realize that. And then I went to use an item and saw that it was grayed out, and I was like, oh shit, I started this on hard. So I restarted the chapter, chose normal, and then I was steamrolling everything. So I've had half of a reactor's worth of experience with hard mode, and
Must have been a pain in the ass.
yeah, I can't. I mean, more of the game is just gonna be more intense. I'm not gonna do that on hard, at least not yet. If I have maybe nothing else to do, I'll focus on it.
But I've played games in the past that have. I'll never play a Souls game because what I was saying to Neo off show, prior to the show, before you even got into the chat, I like to think that like that switcher, the difficulty switcher in the beginning of anything I'm playing, is an advertisement. It's a warning label, right? It's saying if you pick this lane, you're going to get fucked. Or if you pick this lane, you're going to enjoy the story. In games that offer that, I know what to pick. Like, I know to pick either normal or easy. And I do fairly well when I pick normal in most games, right? But it's
God of War teach you a lesson.
well, there's nothing. I was mad, of course, while it was happening, but there's nothing wrong with what God of War did because God of War said, I think my problem with God of War is I didn't understand what imbalanced meant. And it wasn't until I started playing Give Me God of War mode, which is the hardest difficulty in God of War, that means you're getting intentional imbalanced play because they write it as that. This mode will be imbalanced, right? And I like the transparency and the honesty of that. Because when you play the normal in God of War, it's hard as fuck as it is. It's a challenge. Like fighting those Valkyries on normal was really hard.
Really hard.
Yeah. Like you remember the fucking 9th or 10th Valkyrie, whatever the last one was? Holy fucking shit. Like
It's
and,
insane. It's
and
it's
playing
they're
that
very
on
hard.
playing that on Give Me God of War mode, I spent 2 hours in the tutorial. Sorry, did I say 2 hours? Did I just say 2 hours? Sorry, Trip. I spent 2 days in the tutorial.
2 days.
Yeah, I never left the tutorial and give me God of War mode. Like that's the opening where they just
Sheesh.
show you how to throw stuff and that kind of crap. The enemies were that fucking hard.
Whoa.
Now, someone did make the argument that, and this is probably applies to Final Fantasy, which begs the question is, am I just not good at games? Do I just play, am I soft and do I just play games that are just too easy for me? Probably.
I think you do start out with a mentality that would make you bad at the game, but I think what you prove time and time again, Felix, is that you eventually do overcome. You are resilient. You kick and scream and lash out at being forced to change, but you eventually do, and you come away a better gamer for it. So that's how I'm going to put it,
I
which would
appreciate
not
that.
make you a bad gamer, but you have that mentality when you first start, which the mentality is, I don't want to have to change to beat this.
Right. Yeah. It
That's the mentality
is very free.
that makes a player a bad player.
What's crazy is I've deigned to try and play MLB The Show this current season with the like the dynamic like slider that like slides the difficulty the more hits you get, you know.
Yeah.
So the game is never the same. Like it's always changing. And I'm
Does it change? It just like RNG changes where the slider is?
like yeah, you can physically have it turned on where you actually watch it adjust each time you.
That's interesting.
When you get a bunch of hits that succeed, it gets harder. When you start getting destroyed. with both pitching and batting.
Sure. Yeah.
What's funny about that is Resident Evil 4 actually has that exact thing that slider, but it's invisible.
It does. That's correct. Yeah.
It's so cool because they change the difficulty on you depending on how good or how bad you do.
Yeah. If you're like smoking zombies, they'll have a lot more come at you.
Yep, and then they'll
cool.
drop less ammo and they'll do all kinds of things like that. But if you are struggling and restarting areas over, they will kind of reduce it, and then enemies will drop more materials and ammo for you. It's cool. It happens behind the scenes. You don't play with any sliders.
Buff you up.
They
buff
do
you up. Give you a buff when you're.
I must have been cruising through my first playthrough of RE4 on the Wii, because by the time I got to the castle, dude, I started getting fucked in the castle. Like that shit was scary, dude. Those monks,
No joke.
for my butthole. It was bad.
But back to what I was saying about Gimme God of War mode, someone made a comment, either I read it in a forum or somebody just said it when I was in my stream. They said, Gimme God of War mode is the hardest in the tutorial because you've unlocked nothing, right?
Right.
When you're in Gimme,
I would assume that mode is for New Game Plus or for an experienced God of War player.
Right.
Someone who's like completed the game or someone who's actually.
Here's the thing, though. I don't think New Game Plus was even out when that game first came out. So it's like it was definitely there for people who completed the game and were like, or just wanted to fucking punish the shit.
I want to do this again.
Yeah.
Harder.
Knowing what I know, yeah.
You know, like, see, that's why not like, but that's why I appreciate what the company that develops Souls games, that company, who's that again?
FromSoft.
FromSoft. I appreciate FromSoft.
It's from Software.
From
Yeah.
Software. Yeah.
From Software. I appreciate From Software because their marketing for their games is that we're going to punish you. You know this.
Yeah,
there is no difficulty.
No ambiguity about that.
You're going to get your ass beat, and I can choose to avoid that, right? But the point of my discussion tonight, if I've even made it clear, is what do we do, or how should we respond when the fucking game's normal mode, like, kind of broadsides you? Because that's how I felt like with this Final Fantasy. I got over it, and I beat the Hell House. I'm happy. You guys have assured me there's no major surprises after that, or at least Trollbeard did.
So okay, from my perspective, when you call a difficulty mode normal, right? I think we can all agree that's the game developer signifying to you that this mode is the baseline. This is the experience
it's the balanced
we wanted.
playthrough. Yeah.
No. I didn't say
Okay.
this. I didn't say this mode is promising you complete balance in every encounter. What I'm saying is this is what they promise you is their expected baseline experience front to back of this game.
Okay.
It's not free of difficulty spikes, in my opinion. It's not free of imbalance, and something's probably missed a tuning pass. If everyone on the QA team was nuts, like that probably could have happened, and it shipped with something extra spicy for the average player. That could probably happen a lot. But on the average, if you play normal, they're saying to you, this is just the average player's experience. Contrasted with a mode like, Give Me God of War mode, which their baseline expectation, I don't even think is someone who wants to be challenged right off the bat. I think the expectation for a harder difficulty at its core is someone who has been through the game, who understands the movement and the options and the choices intrinsically, and wants to take their experience to a new level and be challenged higher with what they already know.
Right.
That's just how I would categorize. Like, I know there's like shades of difficulties with games now. There's so many levels.
I mean, that's exactly how it is.
But that's my 1 and 2 is where they would live.
That's exactly how it is.
That.
I was going to say that's exactly how it is in Resident Evil 2 remake and Resident Evil 3 remake. Like, those games are designed to, and I didn't understand that when I first started playing that. I know, I didn't understand that, but I figured it out that the repeat ability is when the advantages start showing up. Like, I played this, I understood how quick to get through this. Okay, now I'm going to do it the next time quicker. And that's why I ended up doing.
And to your Give Me God of War mode example, right? The tutorial is the hardest part, especially starting off with scratch because you have nothing. But think of a player coming into that game, even without the benefit of New Game Plus. Okay, if you're someone who's played through the game and now you want a new challenge, there are things that you understand that a player who's just taken the shrink wrap off never can. You
Yep.
know how soon to take your thumb off the stick to make Kratos stop moving. You know how angled he's going to be coming out of a spin. Like these are things you just understand at a subconscious level when you play the game that much, and you already get off the ground running, knowing those movements and feeling the world a certain way. So you're ready for the extra challenge without doing anything else. You're not learning from a handicap,
Yeah, like
which is
going
what
into
someone does if they start without any background
Any
in the
experience,
hardest
yeah.
mode.
they had all the different realms, right, in God of War, and one of the realms was this maze where you essentially go through, and each time you go through the maze successfully or different parts of the maze, you get a piece of armor that helps you defeat that maze. You can't get the last piece of armor, right, unless you get the 4 before it, because they provide you a defense against this mist that's at the base of the maze that's a choking poison mist.
Mm-hmm.
And the more piece of armor you add on, the more you can get to the furthest part of the maze, and get the last piece. You see? So it's like, it's really clever, but if you don't know how to do that, going through it, you're just going to die until you know
Right.
that's the mechanic, and you have to just get those pieces. And when I went through that the first time, it was like, fuck. And then you realize once you get that full set of armor, that's how you beat the Valkyries, the high-end Valkyries, because it's the most powerful armor in the game. There's
Right.
a lot of people.
Progression.
There's a lot of people
In a
who,
nutshell.
there's a lot of people who I read in online forums got frustrated on these Valkyries because they couldn't beat them, but they didn't realize that that was the most powerful armor in the game, and like they didn't bother going through the whole maze. Like
Mhm.
I don't know. Are we hitting a
There's-
thesis? Did we hit that?
Well, and I mean, this discussion was brought to viewers like you by your question of like, what does it mean? Like, should we
Yeah.
rally behind a definition of normal? And I think the answer to that is no, because normal is relative to the game
Right. it's
itself.
definitely
Normal is
relevant.
just signifying the developer's baseline. I think there are moments in games where things don't feel tuned well, and that feels bad because you've signed up for a certain experience in the game, and you play up to a certain point, and it feels bad if it feels like an insurmountable wall versus like a teaching moment.
Right. And I don't have good eyes for that.
Right. I was gonna say there's some of that can be like the gamer's mentality coming up against it, right? And their willingness to adjust. But everyone's gonna get frustrated at a certain point, right? Like I got a couple examples. One is more relevant than the other, but I'm gonna start with the more irrelevant one to what we were talking about today. The first time I ever played Assassin's Creed, the original,
The
just
original.
Assassin's
Yeah.
Creed.
2007.
Yeah. Do you guys remember? Did you get to the end of that game?
Yeah, I
hell
beat it.
yeah.
The end of the game is you literally running through a field fighting waves of soldiers.
Yeah, yeah.
And this was a game where for the previous 99% of it, you were climbing buildings, hiding in shadows, not engaging in combat, because if you engaged more than like 2 people, you would get fucked. Your abilities were stealth. It was quick kills. It was escaping.
They gave you throwing knives that you never used, and then they become very useful in that final fight.
And
just so you know.
you were just running. You're on a battlefield, and you have to do this. This is not like a cinematic moment that you just have to like respond in a quick play scenario for to like get through for a cutscene. You have to fight your way through this, and the game is not tuned for you to handle gigantic crowds of people. And I got so frustrated. This is actually turning into a trip rage story. I've raged.
Oh,
I don't know if there's many other times, but this is the one time in my life that I like freaked the fuck out. And I was
don't
playing
even know
this,
what that looks like.
and it wasn't. I was having a fucking awful time, and I was drinking out of a little plastic cup, right? Just a little plastic, just regular drinking kitchen cup, whatever. And I took this fucking cup and I winged it at the door that was next to me in my porch in my parents' house. This door is a multi-paneled door with like little glass panes that are separated by wooden separators, right? Well, I didn't break one of the glass panels, but it hit one of the middle wooden panes at the perfect angle to bounce right back at me and clip me in the forehead with the edge of the cup at nearly the same speed that I had just thrown at the door. The door was like 2 feet from me, so like it was an immediate rebound. I saw fucking red. Everything went red, and I grabbed the nearest thing, which was a Guitar Hero controller, and I smashed it like I was on stage in the fucking Who, just like in the ground repeatedly until this thing was swinging by the wires inside the controller.
That's like an everyday experience for Felix. I got a table in front of me that's like
and I
got
said,
a hole in it.
I'm going to stop playing this for a little bit. I'm gonna walk outside, get some fresh air or something. That was probably the angriest I've ever been, maybe in my life. Definitely playing a video game.
Wow.
Like just the moment, it was just the most frustrating thing, especially feeling not only like betrayed by the game, by the design of the game, but also like my inability to fucking press a button. It was just every emotion in the world. And I was just like, I'm breaking something today.
Rage meter, man. You were like you were like Trevor in fucking Grand Theft Auto 5.
It went off, man. That was the moment.
Yeah.
It did it.
How about you, Neo? You get what's your rage inducing, like where your expectations were fucked, you know?
Well,
like,
you guys know I recently like played Sekiro, and ultimately I decided that I don't have the time commitment or the energy to learn and overcome the game's like systems that push back against you like constantly. The last thing I did in the game was fighting this, not even like one of the harder bosses. Like I've seen a lot of the boss fights in this game, and it was just a guy it was a multi-phase fight. You fight his first phase, which is very hard to get through, and his second phase where he starts flinging lightning at you. And after a few tries of this, I'm like, I don't think I can play this game. I'll beat Bloodborne. I beat Dark Souls 1. I beat Demon Souls, right after Bloodborne this past year. I beat 2 Souls games in the past year, and Sekiro broke me, essentially. I couldn't do it, man. Like,
but you didn't go into that one with the expectations that would like, did you expect that to happen? Like, isn't that kind of on the label?
I for sure knew the difficulty that Sekiro has. Like I know that it's a difficult game. Like I knew that was part of the game. And the difference between Bloodborne and Demon Souls and Dark Souls to Sekiro is in Demon Souls and Dark Souls, you can level up and get stronger and eventually overpower the enemies that you face. You get new weapons, you get new stuff. In Sekiro, you're literally dependent on your ability to respond to the fights in front of you. You get small health boosts throughout the game, but
you never actually gain in strength.
I cannot.
You don't really gain in strength. No,
Never
like the things that you do increase on, it's like your resistance to or your ability to break the parry meter of your enemy, and your health gets larger. But other than that, you're at the mercy of getting really good at fighting enemies. Like you have to do it. Otherwise, you're stuck. Yeah. And I will forever be stuck at this character unless I will commit to the act of like getting better at the game. And I don't know if I'm at that point right now where I want to bang my head against the game until I beat it. I don't think that's for me right now. I'm enjoying killing monsters.
That's how I felt about Uncharted's crushing mode. Like, we've already talked about that numerous times. I don't have to rehash it all, but like, it was totally unbalanced. Like, like you just spend so much time.
It is unbalanced in the sense that you signed up for it when selecting hard.
Right, I knew it. I expected it. Yeah. I was actually, you know what was fucked up? This is what's fucked up. I played Crushing on 1, 2, and 3, and it
Mhm.
really wasn't that hard. It was manageable. But then I got to 4, and that's when it was full tilt fucking boogie.
Okay, so that actually
Wasn't
there's
3
something to that because you would have experienced what you considered a baseline for the other games at
Right.
the same named tier of difficulty,
Yeah.
and then Game 4 came out,
And it was
and all of a sudden you're
unwieldy.
like, "Holy fucking shit! This is nowhere near what I was."
There
just
were parts that
struggling
were
through."
there. In all fairness to Druckmann, there were parts that were manageable. Like I got to parts where it was hard, but I figured out a way to like stay in like a corner.
Yeah,
But that one part, that shipyard part, there's nowhere to hide. You're just fucking dead. And the only way you get through it is sheer, you know, what do they call it? Threading
muscle
the needle.
memory.
No,
Oh, yeah.
threading the needle kind of luck. Like you threaded it luckily,
just
and you made it.
near avoidance of
Yeah,
of
like
tons
the
of
analogy of
deadly
like
shit.
you're flying. You've seen it in like space movies that you love.
Oh yeah,
You're
yeah, for
flying
sure.
the starship to get through, like with the Millennium Falcon, to get out of like
yeah.
a keyhole
Yeah,
sized
you
fucking
go through
space.
something real. There's a clip from my
The interstellar scene where you're like,
yeah.
you're spinning and he's attaching the.
There's a
station.
clip from when I was playing Metal Gear Solid from my 2018 Metal Gear March. And Neo Aoshi was actually in my stream with me in the background. And I was fighting the helicopter fight on the roof of the building in Metal Gear Solid. And I was tracking it with the rocket and I launched my my missile and it was like right at this debris pile, and like I didn't realize that because like I was tracking the helicopter, not watching like exactly where it was going. Missile took off, flew at the debris, but like it went right through the geometry and then right over, and then actually hit the helicopter. And I said, "Did you see me thread that needle?" So that's the
Yeah.
terminology.
Did you see me thread that needle? Yeah, exactly. Because like sometimes you just get that luck, and in that final moment in the shipyard, when I was able to kill there's two like heavy gunners or whatever. I was managed to kill them, and I managed to kill all of the little guys that kept killing me, the ads that were with those guys. When I finally did it, I was just like, holy fucking shit. That like I'm never gonna play the lottery, like ever. That was the lottery. I did it. I won the lottery.
Yeah, that was the moment.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
dislike Final Fantasy VII Remake at all. I think
That's your thesis statement right there. Actually,
yeah.
I don't dislike this game.
No,
Okay.
it's got a rich narrative, and you telling me that world just gets bigger in subsequent games, like that they expanded the original game, like this one part of
Yes.
the original game to become
Yeah.
a bigger story, makes me just
Yeah.
want to play the full story and really soak
Dude,
it in.
I highly recommend when you're done this, play the original. Like
Well, what I was going to ask earlier, what's that available on? What can I get on my Switch?
everything, literally every single thing. Your iPhone, the Switch, the PS4, like the computer, your goddamn microwave, everything plays Final Fantasy VII these days. So you're good. Whatever you want to play it on, it's there.
Yeah, I might do that. I'll probably do that. Just to
Yeah.
see how that game plays compared to what I'm doing.
Yeah. After the show last week, Neo, after you'd gotten off, we were chatting and stuff, and I was showing him like some screenshots of like the overworld, like how it changes to that, and like some other like areas and things, and how there are multiple continents, let alone one city where the world takes place, and how it just really expands
Blows
outward, and it's crazy.
Yeah, it's like, what are they going to do in subsequent versions? Is it going to be just
And that's the thing, no one knows, man. Like there's so much to this game, and I don't know.
When you're done, you should listen to our spoiler cast. We talk a lot
Oh,
about
yeah,
like
because you did do
the
that.
future
yeah.
potential that this game has.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I should go back and listen to that. 'Cause
I never
forget
listened to it
a lot
because
of
I
what we
wasn't
talked
sure
about,
if I was
actually.
going to play it. Like I was proof positive that I thought there could be a possibility that I would play it. I didn't want to listen to that at all, so I didn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a fun game, man. I think it's pretty.
It
cool.
is. It's very, 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 very well done.
Definitely drives Mrs. Felix up the wall because especially that Hell House fight, I was like screaming at it all the time. I was like, "Fuck, man!"
She is truly a saint.
She really is, man. She really is. Fuck. I guess that's the show. Was that the
Yeah,
show?
I mean, yeah, I think that's we found a good conversation about difficulty, and we came to somewhat of a conclusion.
Yeah. That I need to just not do the harder difficulties.
That's entirely your call. But I think difficulty is difficulty. Difficulty spikes and unbalanced things do feel bad, for sure.
Right.
I think for your situation specifically, Felix, when it comes to playing a brand new game, you rip the shrink wrap off, right? Jumping into the hardest difficulty without knowledge of the systems and the things that make up the game, you're gonna have a bad time.
And I understand that now. Yeah.
I would too. I don't like going into games at that high level when I don't understand it or like have even like touched it yet, right? You never start like in Monster Hunter as an example, since that's this week. They don't start you off fighting the Magna Malo monster, right? The fucking boss, big bad boss of the game. They start you off on the little dinky birds and like the little guys, right? They build you up to that because they want to teach you how to get better first. Then they throw the hard stuff at you, which is what I'm hoping for the game. I'm hoping they throw hard stuff at me at some point.
I look, if you're only a quarter way through, I feel like they definitely will.
I can't wait. I'm excited. Well, on that note.
Well, yeah, that's
on that note.
That's it.
I've been NeoYoshi. You can follow me at twitch.tv/NeoYoshi. I'm streaming again a little bit. No schedule. I'm just doing it when I have a free evening and when I have free time. So just smash that notification bell so you see when I go live. It'll mostly be evenings for sure. Twitter.com/Neo_Yoshi for Twitter for updates on that. Monster Hunter Rise is on the menu right now, boys, and maybe some shooters. I'll throw some Valorant in there. Maybe I do want to play that more. And maybe some Final Fantasy if we get Trip up to the high end game, and we'll play some of that, baby. Yeah,
Hey, let's go.
Trip Zero.
Again, guys, thank you so much for listening to the show. I am Trip Zero. You can find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Trip0TV, and my socials are all also Trip0TV, so it's very easy to find. I stream Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays during the week. Right now, I'm playing Stardew Valley as my primary game, working on the 100% goal. But yeah, maybe during the end of the streams, we float on into something else, like I've been doing Final Fantasy. Destiny has a new season in about a month and a half, and that new season is going to bring back the Vault of Glass, the very first raid ever.
Oh,
so
shit.
I need to be preparing for that. So there's Stardew fun, then late night fun. It's a fun time. Give me that follow, and I will see you over there on the Twitch machine.
Oh, I want to do that. I want to do that.
Yeah.
It's gotta reallocate that free time.
Felix.
This
Felix
is
are good.
Old Felix Hergood here. I'm on Twitter at Felix Hergood and twitch.tv/Felix Hergood. One of these days I might get back to streaming. I working through a lot of health issues right now, so that's my priority. So it's not streaming. I'll once I get through that or feel better about that, maybe I'll revisit it. But for now, just catch me on Twitter
And the podcast.
Well, and here every Wednesday.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Thanks for catching the show, dudes. I will catch you next week.
See you.